Hello and welcome to another episode of the Just Click podcast. I'm your host Jordan and I'm here with my co-host Justin. And today we have a very special episode with our guest Wai Yan. Wai Yan, can you please tell us a bit more about yourself? What do you do here in the company?
Yeah, so I'm Wai Yan. I'm from Republic Poly and I study media production and design, and I am doing a digital design internship at iClick Media.
Ooh, so you're an intern just like us, another one of us.
Yeah.
So tell us a bit more about why you did this. So you're doing internship as part of your school. It's the school internship, isn't it?
Yeah.
Why did you choose this course in the first place? Can you give us a history on that?
So since young, I always loved film. So I wanted to pursue a career in film. But throughout my 3 years in RP, I found out that I really liked doing design as well. So I found a company and an internship that does both design and editing as well. So here I am.
Oh wait, so some polys I heard that the company they intern at is assigned to them. So you get to choose your own company. Is it? How does that work out? Is it like a job portal or what?
Yeah, so it's a school portal that they have like job offerings that are like partnered with the school. So they approach the school and say, with an internship position open, your students can apply, but they'll do this. Or you can alternatively find a job on your own, internship on your own, but the school doesn't like protect against any company misdemeanors basically. Let's say you have some company like issues with the company, so if you were affiliated with the school will be able to step in and handle it for you. But if you find your own company, then they won't be able to do that.
So for your intern, how did you what else? You say you looked for a internship that had both media and design to it. Were all the companies you looked at, like, did you always have the same requirements?
No, I found some other jobs that were interviewed me. Some were in public relations, some were in marketing, some were strictly video production, like making short films. But actually, through all of that, I just came to iClick. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So when you chose the course, right, how hard is it usually for, I guess, you first, and then how hard would you say the typical like person at RP has? How much struggle is there to enter to get an internship?
To get any internship, I would say it's pretty easy. Let's say you don't want to go to a company that's too much work. You want to do a more laid back kind of work, then you can definitely find a job. Let's say you don't find a job at all, you can still intern for the school. So some of my batchmates also still work for the school currently. Yeah.
Yeah. And then what did you your design your media and design student, what does a typical design and media student have to like prepare for their interviews and all that? Do you need a big portfolio? Or what are you expected to have?
Yeah, definitely a portfolio. So basically we're all required to make a website. So to design a website from scratch, most of us code, but if you're too lazy, you can just do like a online, like a website builder. You can use one of those. So you're expected to build a portfolio depending on what kind of job you want. Let's say you're a pure designer, then obviously you should have a portfolio that's full of design projects. And alternatively, if you're a video editor or you create media, then you have to have a resume of like what pieces of cinema you created, what media you did, and stuff like that.
Wait, so is this a module or is it just something you have to do on your own?
It's something you have to do. Yeah.
Wait, so are you taught like as part of your syllabus? Are you taught coding and things like that?
We taught like for like a semester. It's very basic coding. So we can have like, you can explore on your own if you want to build a proper website, but the way we were taught is to have a template and use to like replace the code with your own code, so you can build from there and make it your own. Yeah.
So that portfolio you say, does it like come from all your school work, or how much of it has to be your own, the work that you do on your own outside before the school and so on?
Let's say you don't have any portfolio outside of school, you can definitely just chuck all your school projects in and just submit to this company. I mean, they won't know because you won't literally say this from school work. But I think it's better to have a portfolio that's both in school and outside of school as well. Definitely builds up your portfolio a bit more.
Okay. And you went through multiple interviews for multiple internship companies. What was that? What were the different interviews like? What did they ask you? How were they? What did they really want to find out about you? What did they care for?
I think first and foremost is your skill level, and how competent you are in working in a group, in a company. Because some people are very talented at what they do, but I would say they're not very good team players. so like they can't really communicate and talk to people very well. So they want to make sure that like through a personal one-on-one interview, like, even though it's online, you can still see how well and articulate the person is. So I think they want to see that first, but after that is probably your skill sets. Yeah.
So for all of them, I'm guessing you were accepted for most of them. Like most of them got back.
A few
to
rejected
you.
me, but I had a few choices on where I want to put internship at the final choice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why did you other than like you didn't the reason you applied for these interviews in the first place is because you wanted them in I'm guessing you wanted them in some capacity. Why did you reject them in the end? Why did you reject them, and do you know why you got rejected by them if they rejected you?
Okay, for the second question, I think the things that I got rejected for, maybe they found people already and they couldn't have a empty slot to put me in, or they just found other people that were better than me at that specific area of the job, or like for what I rejected the company because I preferred this company over others and what I could do for this company. Because I did some research on this company and I saw they were partners with NUS, ACE, some of that, and I saw that as an opportunity to learn and like to work for them. So it builds my portfolio up in the end as well. Yeah.
Actually, for Singapore Polytechnic, where we are from, actually, we are only allowed to apply for about 3 companies.
Oh.
And that's the limit lah. So, as example, if we get rejected by one company, then we will be able to apply one more time lah, for example. That's how it works. But is there a limit for RP?
I think that in the portal, right, there were 10 is the limit. But outside of that, you can actually go find out from your own source.
If you outsource, you can outsource unlimited lah. But from school portal, you only have 10.
Yes.
Did you ever consider outsourcing at all?
I tried looking for some, but a lot of them positions weren't open, or I just weren't very interested. So
Okay. So now I just want to get into it. So you got into the company. What do you? We're nearing the end of our internship.
yeah, it's my last 2 weeks.
Yeah. So what would you just give an overview? What do you do here? You're as a media design student coming to. We are an agency. What is the typical? What would you give an overview of what you do? I guess.
So on a day-to-day basis, I do design work. So a lot of different clients, a lot of medical companies, a lot of companies that are just trying to build an online presence. So I do social media works, for example, Facebook, Instagram, stuff like that. Also, they have LinkedIn for some of them. And other than that, I also do video editing, a lot of that. So it's all TikTok editing, a lot of video, long form or short form editing. I do the editing on this podcast as well. Yeah.
He's our editor.
And yeah, so there's a lot of different, projects that are going on. Some of them are very different. So for example, you have to go out for shoots. Like I had a shoot for the NUS, so we do camera work and video work as well. And I had to go back edit as well. And then apart from that, we have like websites that we design. So I have to help with the websites as well. It's a lot of different projects. Quite fun. Yeah.
Yeah. Then what I want to ask is, so you said you had to code a website for your portfolio. Would you have expected to do any sort of coding in any of your jobs that you got, any of your internships?
Well, I'm definitely not that confident in my ability to code. So I probably, if I had, like if they asked me to do it, I probably said I couldn't.
Your coding was a requirement from the school? The website that you coded was a requirement from your school, or was that just what everyone did?
It's what some people did. Because like if you use a website builder, then you can see like, oh, this website was built by whatever software you use to build it.
Yeah.
So some media companies, like we were told that some media companies don't really look down on it a bit.
When you say website builder, do you mean like, I'm thinking like Squarespace. Are you thinking like that?
Yeah.
Okay, but then if you, let's say you design, why wouldn't you maybe show a design of a website, for example, that you make using like AI or Figma and all those things?
No, we do have those. We put those in our like portfolio, but we don't put our own portfolio on that website. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay. So at this job, you don't do any sort of coding at all. Did you want to do any sort of coding in any regard?
No. I'm terrible at coding. Plus, I find coding so difficult. Plus, I feel like it's a very big learning curve. I feel like if I do start on it, I have to commit a lot of time and effort to actually learn proper coding. I feel like I couldn't do that right now.
What did you want to learn, I guess, coming in? A lot of internships, at least for school, the purpose of the internships usually are to not just show us a bit of what the real world is like, but put us in a but we are still students here, so they in the ultimate goal to an extent is for us to learn. Did you come to a internship like wanting to learn anything? Like, was there anything in your mind that you're like, oh, I really want to learn this specific thing, or I want to practice this, I want to refine my skills?
Definitely. I would say that compared to the rest of my cohort, I'm not that proficient in designing. So I want to come here, learn a bit more about designing. And when I came in, and right now as well, I've been under 2 different design leads, and it taught me a lot. So I feel like even through just those 2 people, I feel like I can just learn a lot of this company. I gain a lot of information, learn a lot of new skills, stuff like that. So it was great. But other than that, it was great to just actually go out, talk to clients, and like see what kind of clients there are out in the world. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of different clients, and they, have different kind of expectations of you and how they expect to be managed or talked to. So handling that was a bit of a challenge on my end. But I think through this, it became a lot more natural to me.
Did you what was it? Did you get to work with clients during your school, your time at school itself?
Yeah, but of course we were always like, how to say, watched by our teachers and mentors. So we were not really given the whole freedom to talk to them. We were always monitored basically. So it's the first time that we've actually been on our own, apart from like our bosses and everything. We actually had the freedom to talk to our clients one-on-one. Yeah.
So then, if other than so you've gotten better at designing a little bit, and I'm guessing you gotten not I guess a bit more. You got to practice a bit more of your editing itself.
Sure.
Was there anything else that you were thinking you learned, or you maybe wanted to learn that you weren't able to learn?
I would say I came into this company thinking I would learn a bit more about SEO and SEM, but that wasn't really my job area, so I didn't really get to know much about that, just the basic rundown here and there, but I was hoping that I get to learn a bit more about that. But other than that, I think it's all good, yeah.
Was that something that you think the companies, not this, but just companies in general should do? Because you're a media student, you're not necessarily expected to know SEO, SEM, even though we are an agency, we do that. Do you think the company should have been letting you step outside of your field to do something that's unrelated? Would that be useful to the students in general?
I mean, I guess it's both positive and negative. That's its own cons and pros. But I feel like it's nice to have interns just explore what is it like in the working world and how things function, and we can learn a bit more and see if they want to actually pursue this in the future. But on the other end, like if you don't know anything about the topic, then letting an intern do it is kind of a waste of time in my opinion. So it's just a give and take.
Then do you think if, for example, in a media company, is it good to be a jack of all trades?
I would say so, yeah. I'm sure there's people here that are like specialized in one thing, and that's great because they get to do that thing that they're good at, and a lot of them do enjoy doing it. So it's good for them. But I feel like if you are able to branch off into many different skills, then it's good. Yeah.
Did RP teach you to be a jack of all trades, or did they really teach you to focus all in on one specific?
I would say
area?
my course in general is a very broad course. Because some, let's say TP, they have a all design course, and NP has a whole media course. So us having split into 2 different like specializations basically makes us like very different, I would say. So just through that, I feel like all of the students there are a bit of know both ends, which is quite
And so beyond those 2, media and what was it, design, right?
Yeah.
Other than those 2, you did a bit of coding. You said. Did you do
That's
anything?
very minor.
Did you do anything else other than that's like outside media and design?
So we did a bit of marketing as well.
Yeah.
So we had to market our own stuff. We also learned general modules. So things like entrepreneurship, communications, public relations, stuff like that. We learned that kind of things. And more general modules like how to build a portfolio, how to like laws, media laws, stuff like that. The general stuff, yeah.
Then did you, would you say that what you learned in school was actually useful for this internship? I'm sure every internship is different, but would you say what you learned actually did help you here?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I think like if I didn't go to school for these things, there's no way I'll be here in this company doing what I'm doing right now, right? So I think beyond that is just these soft skills that you know on paper, you can actually apply it in the real world. Yeah.
Vice versa, do you think whatever you learn in the workplace relates back to like your school in any way? Like you could take this and say, oh, this is similar to my projects, or whatever I learned, or this is back what I learned in the classroom and so on.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So I feel like, because some people, because the way my course worked is that your third year of poly, you either have your FYP first or you have your internship first. So personally for me, I have my FYP first, then my internship. So I feel like if I have my internship first, then FYP, I feel like I can apply the skills that I have now and use it for my FYP and get a good grade. Yeah.
Oh, that's quite different from our perspective, I think, because we also had the same thing. We had FYP first. After that, we had internship. But after coming here, we actually realized that if we didn't do our FYP, we would have died here.
Why?
Because actually, FYP did give us some skills and also gave us basically an idea of what to do, especially when it comes to, because our job we focus more on planning per se. So we do content plan, editorial calendar, and the overall plan or induction of whatever campaign we want to do. So that's what we also have to do in this company here. And without our final year project, honestly, we would not know how to do it.
But what do you all learn for the first 2 years? Really relevant to the final year, like FYP.
Okay, so for Singapore Poly, we are from the business school.
Yeah.
It's quite unique because how it works is for the first year, regardless of which business course you're from, you'll learn the same few modules. So we'll learn things like economics, accountancy, along with negotiation, just those baseline and some coding and robot.
I see. You learn coding as well?
Yeah, we
we
learned
learn
coding.
coding,
We did Python Jupyter Notebook,
Jeez,
and we
alright.
did what's that? UiPath,
UiPath.
which is RPA lah.
Yeah.
Then in the second year we had to specialize.
We specialized.
Yeah.
And then those, we did do one module over the two, I think, because we come from digital marketing and branding. I think in the second year we had 2 semesters. One of the semesters we did the branding related one, and then the second semester we had the digital marketing related module. But I personally feel like those 2 alone weren't enough, and the FYP really did, the final year project really did help me transfer those skills over into internship here.
Yeah, because how you're structured, basically we had digital marketing modules definitely, but those are separate modules ma. So when it's separate modules, you can't really do any overlap for one specific project. But because we had a final year project, we were able to actually apply everything we've learned in past modules into that. And then because, as you said, FYP is a bit more monitored by lecturers and so on. So if we mess up, they can bail us out. Uncountable times.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Though I do get the, okay, for us it's a bit not special per se, but we are doing a lot of content planning, things that are similar to our final year project in our internship here. But not everyone would do that. For example, I could have reasonably taken an accountancy internship because I took a bit of accountancy. I could have done some coding. Like we could have done many different things where the final year project experience would not have made a difference at all. So
because Jordan was from this program called the Common Business Program.
Yeah.
So basically, for me, I instantly came into digital marketing and branding. I came into the course called Diploma in Business Administration from year 1 onwards, while he in year 1 did the Common Business Program. What this meant is basically in the second year, I immediately would just choose my specialization, which is we had 3 choices. So we had international trade logistics, entrepreneurship, and digital marketing and branding. So I chose digital marketing and branding. While for you,
Me, I had to immediately choose a business administration. What is that? Is this also a specialization?
Yeah, specialization.
But then
yeah.
even more specialized to digital marketing and branding.
Because his options were more diverse in a sense, because he could go in on top of digital business administration, he could also go to accountancy, banking, finance, or HR, whichever he wanted to.
But even so, just by the fact that we've done a bit of accountancy in school, means that I could have recently taken an accountancy sort of internship, like that's fully possible, or I could have taken many different like sort of internships where the final year project is irrelevant to the skills that I'm applying in the internship, I guess. Yeah.
I see.
So that's where I think we're on the end where we needed the final year project to then help us with our internship. But do you feel that if you had a choice, would you have preferred your internship first and then your final year project second, or does it not matter to you?
Honestly, it depends on what you find more important. Personally, I find the work experience more important. So I feel like doing FRP first, build my skills a little bit more, and then I can transfer those skills to my internship, which worked out well for me. But I feel like if it's the opposite case, like if you prefer your grades a bit more than internship, then I feel like you applying your internship skills to your projects would have been equally as good.
Wait, so what that means is it internship isn't graded for you all?
Yeah, for my course in RP, well, at least my batch, it's not graded at all. So for the next batch onwards, it's graded.
So how does it work for you? Are you assessed in any way?
So we are like they either give us a pass or a fail.
Oh.
So if you fail your internship, like we take another internship next year, but it's quite hard to fail. Yeah. So of course they won't fail you very easily.
Then do you think it's good, like because you already mentioned that they are changing it up? Do you think that change is a good thing?
I think so, yeah. Because I feel like some people like abuse the fact that they're not going to get fired, they're not going to fail the internship. So just really put in the bare minimum and just scrape by. So a lot of kids been through that. I think a lot of companies complain about that. So some people just barely putting in any effort. So I feel like with the new system in place, people have to care a bit more about how they are in a professional environment.
Then important question, do you think you can get A?
I don't know. Because a lot of my, like how to say, batchmates, the one in the company with me together in the same course, are very talented. And I feel like if I had to go against them, my aim might not be very, like, 100%. Yeah.
Can I step back a bit? Can you run down for us what was your final year project? What like is it like as an overview?
So it is basically like what we do here. So it's basically a transmedia project. So basically to create a children's book from scratch. So we had to create which is in Malay by the way, and our whole team was not Malay.
Wait, sorry, that's your group or was that
just
every? Okay.
Yeah. So each group got assigned a different project depending on their skill set, and we were a team that was supposed to do transmedia. So we specialized in a lot of different aspects of like media and design. So we had to create animations, online marketing. So we did TikToks, Facebooks, Instagram, stuff like that, all those kind of things. We also created like interactive books, so like things you can click on and actually link you to the book, and like you can interact with it, play with a little book storyline or whatever. We also had actual live production. So we had a studio, we had a person who read the storybook and stuff like that. So we had a lot of things on our plate for our FYP.
So you had to do the marketing for them. You had to do, I guess, social media marketing as well as and then the media, which is the editing of all the stuff and all that.
We had to create the book because we only had a book, but we didn't have like the digital version. So they draw everything out from start to finish, and then redraw everything, and then re-render everything, and then put all those.
So that was the media aspect.
Yeah.
Of any other media parts to it?
Yeah, there was like a whole like animation,
animation,
so a lot of editing, a lot of sleepless nights, like the production as well. That also required a lot of animation, a lot of media stuff because we were on a green screen, so we needed to put everything afterwards.
And just like run down what other is it a class or was it a cohort? Were you in a class or were you in a cohort for like were you competing? I guess were you placed in a class or were you placed like everyone was together? So like few. Like 10, 20 groups.
Yeah.
Yeah. What is the? Do you have any other examples of what other groups were doing?
Yeah. So it's a few different groups. So like for example, teams that were specialized in production, so like actual films, they were given a film project. So they had like a thing to like honor. The theme was honor. So they like honor a group of people that you felt were underappreciated. So you could do healthcare workers, you could do cleaners, you could do whatever along that sort. but it'll make a video of it, and that was their final project. So they'd also use that and then create social media posts to promote the project. But for other things that were like more design based, they had to create like whole menus, whole design projects for a restaurant. That's pretty cool as well. Yeah.
So in what way would those have did that help you with what you're doing now in this like what could you not do before the final year project that you felt like now you can, and you brought that into the internship itself?
I think before that I was not that great at editing, but through that I think I learned a lot about editing, because especially because one of my groupmates was very good at editing, so he just taught me along and guided me, and a lot of help from my mentor as well. He does a lot of design work, so he just like went through all my designs, point out what could be better, what not working, what's working, and then from that I learned a lot as well. Yeah.
So let's flip the script. Let's say you maybe did come here first, and then did the final year, everything the same. You did the same project.
Alright.
What do you think would have? How do you think things would have turned out differently? Let's start with internship first. Let's say you took internship straight after year 2, and you somehow came here.
Like year 2, then internship, then here.
Yeah. Year 2 internship, then final year project.
Alright.
So after year 2, you straight came to this internship company here, and you were doing this roughly the same job that you're doing. How much do you think that would have differed?
Honestly, it would differ, of course. Like, I feel like my skills have been very different. I feel like I've been much better at marketing. So I like for marketing for the book itself, I would be able to come up with better ideas, better concepts to basically better market the whole project. Because in the span of about a few months, we gained a few hundred followers. So I feel like if I were to come here first and then like apply all these marketing skills to that project, I feel like I would have done a bit better on that end as well.
Let me ask you, Jordan, this time. Let's flip the table.
Yeah.
So what would you think if you had this internship first and then final year project after?
Yes, what was your favorite project?
My final year project.
Oh my god.
We worked with so.
Oh, you together?
Yeah, we were
We
in
were
class,
same
but
class.
different. Here's the thing: we had 3 classes, and then each class worked with one company. So we
Same company.
yeah, we were both the same class. So we worked on the same company. And then we simulate, each group would simulate an agency.
Yeah, I see.
Would
So,
simulate an agency. Depending on the client, they would decide whether they want all groups to do the same thing, or whether they want different groups to do slightly different things.
Yeah, so for our one, what we did was we had a water filtration company which had multiple different products. So what we did was pretty much effectively almost each group had a different product to do. So for mine it was water coffee filter. So it's a water filter that's specially used for barista machines
I see.
and coffee machines.
And then I think I'm trying to remember, it was a cooling tower, it filters the water in the cooling tower.
Like the big one?
Yeah, the cooling tower on your building.
Yeah.
So that was way harder.
Oh?
No, yeah, I mean he's selling to he's selling his product, not his product, but this agency is selling the product to businesses. I'm selling my product to a building owner, which is
I see.
a lot
Vastly different, yeah.
vastly different. I think for me the biggest thing that I got from the final project was it gave me a second chance to practice the creation of content plans, and then it also gave me an idea of how things like what it is like to speak to a client, because before that I didn't have any concept of like what a client is. Like I always just thought what people do was they just go straight into they work for a company. Let's say take a company like McDonald's for example. You'd be part of McDonald's marketing team and you would market for McDonald's and only McDonald's. The concept of an agency for me was like no idea.
I see.
Then we did the final year project. I still had no real idea what I was doing, but then only once I come here, then like, oh, now I get the context of like what they mean by you're simulating an agency. Like now I like get the whole context of it, and because I got to practice the content plan first, that helped me a lot in the internship here, because now then I get more practice. Let's say flip the script. We did an internship right straight out of the gate, I think I would have still come here, just because I think this place is still like from the interview I thought the place is quite nice.
So from the interview only.
I mean, yeah, I just went straight to the interview and I saw the place. It's quite nice.
Okay, is that opinion still here now?
It is still nice, yeah. And then I feel like the work that I pumped out, I would have like no idea what I'm doing. I would have just done things. I didn't know, like I wouldn't have the second chance to practice, and so I need a lot more guidance, which I feel like they may not want. Not may not want, but they may be a bit hesitant to like provide because
Or
like
may not have the time.
we don't have the time to provide. So then I think my standard of work would have just dropped a lot in the internship. Whether the internship would have been there, because like in school you have a teacher to like teach you and guide you and at least tell you you're doing the wrong thing, please do this instead. But at internship or at least a job, there's not as much of that. They expect you to learn on your own and so on. So I do wonder, maybe if this place, I really can't imagine whether they would have eventually gotten me on the right track or not, for example. Like
I'm sure they would have. Let's say you didn't know what you were doing.
I think by the end I would have gotten there, and maybe my final year would have come out a little better, but I'm not fully. I can't quite think about whether that would have how much it would have impacted my final year. I guess what I produced in the end.
I mean, like, because both of your FIP and your internship are graded, so I'm assuming whichever came first, I'm sure your output for the final grade would have been similar regardless, right?
I feel that it's a bit hard to compare in a sense because for FIP we had effectively I think about 4 months plus to focus on one plan. While here we we do the same thing but in like a week or two. So the tempo is much more fast paced and by extension a bit more stress because for my group personally when we were doing our FIP we had to like scrap and redo our plan like 4 or 5 times.
Is that because of your client or because of the teacher?
Because of my group mates. So there was a lot of stagnation, a lot of discussion and so on, and we took almost 2 months to finish the content plan.
I see.
So there's time that we could never have here lah. So I feel that it's a bit hard to compare output.
But let's say you came here first, but then you have know how to do a content plan properly by the time you went to FIP, no?
Yeah, that is the thing, but I don't know personally because there are many factors, external factors that are in play. For me personally, I feel that I could do it, but one thing that is my mind blank already. Okay, so I just feel that it's just very hard to compare because of the time difference and so on.
I got it.
Yeah, basically. Speaking of internships, so I do think that it should be compulsory. Like should schools rather, not companies, make internship as part of their syllabus because for some schools like engineering, they choose either internship or FIP.
Oh, really?
So it'll be 1 year of FIP.
1 year?
Yeah, it'll be 1 year.
Wait, and then, they can choose to not take the.
Yes.
But they do FIP like regardless. They just do half a year of it.
I'm not sure, but I just know my friends in engineering need to do like a year of final year project.
That's insane. But then again, it's engineering, so like I guess it's probably from scratch planning to production.
Yeah.
But I do believe that every school should have an internship of some sort, even if it's a short while. I feel like like you said just now, there's only so much a school can teach you. I feel like past a certain point, you actually need to go out in the real world, actually apply these skills, and actually create something professionally. If not, like there's no point of you being in school.
Do you think the internship? So we're doing one semester. One semester is about 5 months.
Yeah.
About 5 months. Do you think that's an appropriate duration? Because we've had some people that we met at our internship who only lasted. Not only lasted.
Yeah. For example,
who only have duration. Who
only lasted.
It's not like they got fired.
Not like they got fired. They didn't get fired. Their internship duration was only set to be 10 weeks, I think.
Yeah,
which is about 2.5 months.
Yeah.
Versus we are about 5 weeks as well. Or what would you have thought about like a year of internship, or maybe like 2 semesters, not back to back, or like 2 different internships, or so on.
Rather, what do you think is let's say the sweet
Appropriate.
spot for internship time? Because for example, ITE has about 2.5 months, Singapore Poly we got about 6 months, and you in RP has about 5.
Yeah. So I would say 5 to 6 months is a good range, honestly. Especially at our like education level, I feel like having an internship that's way too short doesn't really help us in any way. And when it's too long, like at a certain point, as an intern's job, you learn the same thing over and over again, I would say. Like there's only so much new experience you can get. So I think 6 to 5 months is a good range. I feel like you can absorb a lot of new information, a lot of new skills. Also, while at the end of it, coming out if this call me something. Because I feel like 2 months. I mean, it also depends on what you learn. I think the intern you're talking about does what she do, admin work or something.
She also did similar to us.
She was part of the design team.
Yeah.
I see.
One of them was
One design, one admin. One admin,
yeah.
from ITE.
I feel like admin wise, right, if you spend 2 or 3 months somewhere, I feel like you'll get a basic idea of how a company works. So like you'll do the same thing every month for that specific intern. But I think what we're doing, I think a few more months is required.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like we learn a lot.
Yeah.
Honestly, we learn a lot from internship.
Yeah.
But we also need the time to do it again and again to internalize it in a sense.
What would you have thought of? Okay, just 2 ideas here. Either, what would you have thought of 2 companies worth of 2.5 months, and what would you have thought of 2 companies worth of 5 months? Like you do 2 companies for 5 months, or you do 2 companies for 2.5 months.
Okay, I think depends what education level you're at again. Because I know the SIT they have an 8-month internship.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's basically 2 semesters long, basically. So for the 8 months, they spend their whole time at one company.
Yeah.
Which I feel like some people like, some people don't like. Because some people like stability,
Yeah.
just doing the same things. But some people want to like adventure more and get to know more about the working world. So I think it's both ends. But if you're like talking about spending 2.5 and 2.5 to add up to 5 months at 2 different companies, I would say it's a pretty good idea, but I feel like the adjustment period for most people would be very drastic. Because you just get thrown into like internship, and then immediately after you have to go to somewhere else that's totally different, relearn everything you knew about the other company. I feel like 5 months is a very big commitment. First of all,
maybe not in a row. Let's say your end of your second semester in year 2, your second semester in year 3, as an example. I mean, it doesn't. I mean, or maybe back to back as well. Could be that.
Personally, I would feel it should be more. It should be based on your trade per se.
Yeah.
Because if you're willing to do it, then I feel like if you can do it, then go for it. It's a good way to learn.
Personally, I feel that I'll prefer sticking to one company, but they should definitely give more. Like for example, schools who do like who give like the job portal per se, they should have more emphasis on teaching us students how to really spot internships and so on, so as to ensure that what we pick is definitely relevant to wherever we are, whatever we are learning. So
it's a big concern among interns as well.
Yeah, there's a very big concern among interns.
That you get thrown into a job where they don't really give you much.
For example, one big fear I had was like I joined a company, I'd be a coffee boy.
That's my biggest fear.
That's the biggest fear.
I think for me, when I think about like the duration of intern, I think 5 to 6 months is the sweet spot where you satisfy the most people. I'm sure some people would have liked 2.5 months. Some would have liked them a year. Because for example, like we're only here for 6 months, and then you can kind of like, let's say, you're gonna work here for you're gonna work at a job that you don't like. For example, someone maybe doesn't afford to intern, and then you tell them you're gonna work at this job for 6 months. At least they could, it's not as bad. Versus like in a real world, you'd be there like, imagine working what you're doing right now for the next foreseeable future. Like that's a bit daunting at the student level. That's where like maybe the 5-6 months helps them. But I get that some also like shorter, some like a bit longer. I think 6 is the sweet spot, and one company is also like the pleases the most people. There's no best solution for everyone.
I feel like a good thing about internship is you would already expect it to be a rather short. So you'll add to your portfolio. 6 months internship, you'll look the best, I'll say, among any type. versus for example if you work full time for this same period, it will not reflect as well. Because I do have friends that are out working, then they did say that your first job is one of the most important ones because it'll set a precedence. Because after the first job, they would not really look at your qualifications. Then my friend stayed there for only a year. Then she was actually complaining how that 1 year is not good, not long enough because she struggled to find a job for the next about 8 months.
Really?
Yeah, because it was the job was too long, like to make it so that her education qualifications were less relevant, but it was too short to let her find a job, a full-time job in a similar trade.
Yeah.
That is quite rough, I agree. But then again, because some schools you can't choose where you go to internship. Luckily we got the choice to actually choose. But let's say you got thrown into a company that is terrible. Let's say like the bosses are super mean, like you don't do anything like useful, and you got to be there for what 1 or 2 years. That sounds terrible, and you can't really quit. If not, you have to redo it all over again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I feel like if you have it for too long, it's terrible. But I feel like too short also, you don't get anything much out of it. So I think 5 to 6 months.
I feel the best way to really cover this would be maybe a 5 months intern and then an option to extend if required.
The option to extend would be good.
Because I do know like some companies they do allow you to extend a certain period.
Alright. Let's quickly wrap this up. I want to ask this question, which is, what is your we're nearing the end of intern. What is your biggest, I guess, takeaway from here, from this internship, I guess?
Okay, so personally, I have my own little startup company. That I want to, of course, obviously grow. So obviously, like seeing what's a media company, what's a media company from the inside, like how it functions and how it works, is a very great help to actually, like, understand how it works and how I can make that little startup become even bigger. So I would say that's a very, very big help. And other than that, I think the clients that I have worked with are very, big clients. So I feel like knowing how to deal with them, knowing how to satisfy their like requests, their demands, and how to like properly do work for them on a standard that is industry standard, I feel like it was a very, very big learning curve for me. But I feel like through this internship, I feel like I came out a lot, like I got out of it basically.
And then last question for you would be, what would you want to tell anyone who's maybe about to join an internship, or maybe like a parent who has a child who's going to join an internship? So,
I see.
Yeah.
Okay, so honestly, first of all, just make sure that the internship company you're going for is the one that you actually want to do, like one that you're actually happy with doing for the next, like, let's say again 5 months, 6 months. Let's say you're doing business. You don't want to go to something that's like purely editing because you have no experience, and that next 6 months is going to be terrible for you. And so you have to pick out what you're good at and what you want to do in the future, and how this company can actually help you in your portfolio to get your dream job in the foreseeable future after that. And to any parents, honestly, like I would say that it's good to worry about your children, but like at a certain point you have to let them grow, let them explore and let them learn. Even if the company is bad, let them learn themselves why it's bad, and don't baby them too much. Like they are becoming adults, like what, we're 20 years old now, which feels super old. And I feel like at this point in life you just let your children go.
I feel that if poly level, I think year 1 still can close one eye, but at this stage is a bit unless for example you are suffering a lot in internship, like you are working constant overtime and it's affecting your life outside of your
even then I still feel like you still have to let your children understand that it's kind of sometimes how life is like. But like let's say if your boss is like abusive, then okay,
if your boss is abusive, then definitely like those cases are the rare exceptions. But overall I feel the parents should let the child spread their own wings
and the child should just understand that this is a learning experience.
It's a working work.
This is the working work. This is how it is
for everyone. So with that, I think that will close out another episode of the Just Click podcast. Thank you so much, Wai Yan, for coming on to help us. If you'd like to check out iClick Media socials, you can find them in the description down below. And with that, there's the final. Thanks for watching the Just Click podcast. We'll see you next time. Bye bye.
Bye bye.